This is going to be a bit of a different video. This is at AC50. You can see it's a mad scientist show here. I was having a weird thing where the signal would compress and cut out, and I hooked up to a dummy load rather than a speaker and signal generator, and I was hearing clicks coming out of the output transformer as if the output transformer was arcing, which is potentially really bad news. So I've disconnected this output transformer, and I've hooked up this Habor 50-watt Marshall, which, a pair of EL34s. I've got it hooked up temporarily, and I've got, this tied to shield just so it doesn't emit noise. It's going to be a bit noisier than usual, but here's what it sounds like. And with this transformer, I'm still getting that compression and kind of weird, like the volume's fluctuating, but I'm not hearing any acoustic ticking through this. So I don't know whether we have some other problem and it's exhibiting a certain way with the stock output transformer, or whether we have a compression kind of glitchy thing happening in the amp and we had arcing in this. So that's what I'm really looking at here. So first of all, I'm just going to play a little bit with the 335 on the bridge pickup until we hear that little cutout thing. All right, so there it was. The only edits I'm going to do in this are when I have to reach over and switch from the speaker to a dummy cable and stuff, put in standby. So I'll show you all the good stuff, but I'm going to edit out the bits where I'm just getting something or hooking something else up. All right, so now I'm hooked up to the dummy load, 150 watts, 8 ohms. Put this to the side, and I'm going to disconnect the guitar cable. Turn this volume down, and we're going to connect my iPad, because it's my signal generator, using the same channel, and I've got it to 400 hertz. I'll take it out of standby. All right, I can hear it acoustically ringing in the output transformer, but I'm not getting any ticking. And I'm going to sweep this and see if some frequency triggers that cutout thing. All right, I'm not hearing any problem, in any frequency. It's not like it gets to 850 hertz and there's a glitch. So I'm going to reconnect the old transformer just in case there's a problem with one of the connections. I noticed that these two wires weren't in the best shape on this primary, and maybe that's the root cause. So I'm trying to rule out a bad output transformer because that's an expensive proposition. So before I go in there and make any changes, let me make sure that we don't have any DC waiting to zap us. Two volts, I'll risk it. This is some quick and dirty work today. All right, so the test output transformer is disconnected, though it is connected to the speaker. So let me remember to move the speaker connection over here. Got that blue tape so it doesn't short out against this metal over here. And let me turn my attention to these primaries right here. This is a type of transformer that has two wires for each primary, and only one of them is really connected. The other one was had kind of broken off, so that might be the root cause. So I'm gonna snip past the damage and strip away some insulation. I can find the right diameter. There we go. This old wire is kind of greasy, so it's not the easiest thing to grab. All right, before I solder it in place, I want to twist these wires together, give them a fighting chance. I know it's not close up, you can't really see it. Let me try that with the mic pointing at me. I know it's not close up, you can't really see it. I'm just twisting wires together. Then I'm going to tin them. And temporarily, it's just going to be tack soldered. I don't need to do a bunch of very careful, elaborate work if it turns out I have to undo all this. I'm going to do the same thing and expose some fresh wire at this end because we have enough length. And when the old wire gets corrosion on it like that, it kind of creeps up the wire. It's not really trustworthy. And given we had some issues, it might have not been arcing inside the transformer, might have just been arcing as it tried to maintain a connection under current. The fact that we still have that signal compression and dropout, even with a new transformer, gives me hope on this one. But at the same time, move this mic. But at the same time, we did have that ticking sound, clicking sound coming from inside the transformer, which is kind of worrying. Like I said, it could be two different problems with very similar symptoms. While I'm getting this set up, let me just mention, since the owner will be watching this, you need a new pair of EL34s. I've got a test pair in there now. One of yours was bad. Doesn't really surprise me given the operating conditions it experienced. Your Mullard 12AU7 is very, very good. Your Mullard 12AX7 was very, very noisy. Your generic, I think generic, might have just lost its silkscreen tube. The 12AX7 was noisy. And your Electro Harmonics 12X7 is not the best, so we need a pair of 34s and three 12X7s, and given that two of them are cathode followers, I'd recommend JJs for those. And we've got a lot of good choices on the phase inverter. Let's look at these center tap wires here, because they got a bunch of wires together. It doesn't look very reassuring. We got a steel block in here. Try to push them together, see what's up. Yeah, I'm going to have to recreate this end as well. They're just so gummy and yucky with so much corrosion. They've got 4 wires here rather than 1. Any one of those could have had a partial connection or a bad connection, and would give us that issue. So let me kind of get some of the grease off these from the decades. Give me a fighting chance to be able to hold them, to strip them. Do this a little bit longer so I can bend it around. I know this is exciting to watch, but this is the real work. All right, we twist all these together, each one of them by themselves, and then I'll twist them all together, make one wire that I can then solder together. These things are so small. Let's see. That looks good. Because I want to bend this around this post, I'm just going to solder the very end of it. So when I do the bend, the wires won't separate. And if everything is well, I'll recreate this connection more prettily as well. I've got plenty of slack to do that. All right. I want about a 270-degree wrap. Make sure it's physically tight on there. I put the wire from the standby switch back on here. Like I said, I'll make that pretty later. All right, so dummy load connected. And iPad in, so let's power it on. Turn the volume off. And hopefully we won't hear that ticking this time. But before, at 400 hertz, it's at 399 right now, this would really tick pretty much constantly. Out of standby. There it is. I'll move the mic closer to it. All right, that sound is the transformer, and that sound did not happen with this transformer. So we have overlapping issues, both of which caused what I thought was the symptom. Damn. Let's see. So I need to reconnect this while I track down what's causing that compression, that signal that cuts out. And that could be one of these old caps over here. It's shared on both channels. It could be something in the power supply. Hopefully it's not a problem with the choke or the power transformer. I know it's probably not the problem with the choke, because one of the first things I did was I disconnected the choke, and I had a 1K 10-watt resistor in place of the choke, and the problem was still there. So it wasn't arcing or cutting out from the choke. It's unlikely to be one of the new filter caps. Just in case, because this thing did have some voltages over 500 volts when the old bias circuit was in place, I did disconnect the positive end of the FNT on the other side, and I installed an MOD 40 microfarad temporarily instead of the 30, to just rule out that cap. So it's not that cap, it's not the choke. While the compression sound, the dropout, is not the output transformer, the output transformer is not good, which is very sad. The next thing I'm going to look at before I even worry about all this, because it's definitely seems to be in the output. This is an original socket. This is a replaced socket. There was a bad failure to cause them to have to replace a socket. That's probably why the output transformer is not happy. It's also possible that we have a carbon path in the output sockets. And if I'm going to go to the trouble of getting a different transformer or having this one rewound or whatever we need to do, I'd like to put in a pair of high-quality tube sockets where I know that there's no possible path to arcing, because what that sounded like to me with the guitar fluctuating like that was something was stop conducting and then build back up. I've already confirmed that it is not grid clamping at the input to the phase inverter. Until all this stuff is healthy, it's hard to know. And now I know that this, sadly, is not healthy. And I suspect that changing the output tube sockets would at the very least be wise, even if it's not the ultimate fix. So, dang it, Bobby. I'll talk to the owner. I don't want this thing to be a money pit, but my God, in between having those glitches, it sounded great. This thing is going to be so damn good. It's just not there yet. Grr. Arg. Thanks for watching.